Hi, it's Satya. See me at jensatya.com. This video is for my sensitive clients and those who are sensitive to chemicals or EMF to consider options if you have to travel via plane and to understand what's going on a bit with the chemical exposure. So right now with the coronavirus, people are utilizing chemical cleaners much more than they usually do in the airports. And so we need to be conscious of that fact if you're chemically sensitive. So a few things that I have been reading are the cleaners that are currently being used, how they're being dispersed, and also recognizing that every airport is going to use them to a lesser or greater degree based on whoever's in the airport and what their personal protocols are, as well as their environment. So if you're in one airport and you're feeling okay, that doesn't mean that the next airport is going to be utilizing exactly the same chemicals in exactly the same way. Also recognizing that hand sanitizers, while they're saying they're in all the airports, what I'm hearing from clients who are traveling is they're not finding those in airports, and many chemically sensitive people can't actually use those anyway. So I'm going to offer a few thoughts here on what you can use if you need to travel. So first of all, hydrate. Hydrate, 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 because travel is already dehydrating, and if you're dehydrated, as all of us know, if you're chemically sensitive, you're going to be more reactive. And I'm also going to offer that this is not medical advice. Run these by a practitioner, and I would try some of these at home before you travel just to make sure you know how you respond. Because even though usually my clients are okay with these, every once in a while someone won't be, or you're going to need to dilute something more than I say. So please do what's right for you and take this as information that you can then personalize as you need. So first of all, one of the things that I've been reading about is whether or not hydrogen peroxide can break down the coronavirus. And from what I'm seeing and from what I've read in the studies, coronaviruses can in general be affected by hydrogen peroxide. It can break down their shell. So, and from what I'm seeing, using hydrogen peroxide for a cleaning agent can be very useful. So some of my sensitive clients are making a little hand spray that they can bring with themselves as a hand sanitizer, mixing hydrogen peroxide with water in a little bottle, and they're either doing 1/3 hydrogen peroxide to 2/3 water, or some people who feel it's more effective are doing half and half, and then spraying a little bit on their hands, rubbing them together. Imagine that you're scrubbing your hands together, then rinsing with water and scrubbing your hands together to get it off, and then drying. And remember, when we scrub our hands right now, we're acting like we've got sticky stuff on the surface of our hands, so you really need to scrub because that's what's going to break down the virus. So that's one tip to bring with you. And you can get those little squirt bottles that are less than the ounces that you can't travel with right now, so you can keep one in your purse. If in the airports you're being affected because they're aerolizing different chemicals, one of them being hydrogen peroxide actually, within the airports, and some of my clients are saying they're having a hard time breathing. So I've offered that they can wear a mask if they feel comfortable doing so, recognizing that masks also can impede breathing, so you don't want to wear it all the time. You want to be able to have periods of time where you can take it off. And then also, some of my clients are finding it useful to bring a few clean cloths in a bag and breathe into those in the airports if the chemicals are strong. Bringing your own cloths that you know don't have chemicals on them and you're used to whatever you clean in at home can be very useful. And if you're smelling something chemical and you can't get away from it, breathing through the cloth temporarily, it's less about the virus and more about you being able to breathe. Again, chemically sensitive people. You don't want to have the cloth over your face so that you can't breathe at all, but just using it for a temporary time so that you do feel like you can breathe. And then one last thing to notice is that a lot of those who are chemically sensitive are also EMF sensitive. And what a lot of people don't realize, if you're EMF sensitive, you probably know this part already, sit toward the back of the plane because most of the EMF aspects are in the front of planes. So if you sit toward the back of the plane, you don't want to sit in the last seats because the chemicals in the toilets might affect you. So move yourself up just a little bit and sit maybe 4 to 6 seats in from the back of the plane to reduce both EMF and chemical exposure. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if there are other topics you'd like me to talk about on this. I'm happy to do so if I can. And I wish you good health and safe travel. And I would say for those who can minimize travel right now, if you're chemically sensitive, that's probably your best bet. Just right now, while these protocols are going into play, because chemicals are being used at such a high rate in airports, it can be hard for you to deal with. And one last thing, so I don't forget, as many of you realize, if you're chemically sensitive, it's really important when you get to your destination to change your clothes, take a shower, rinse off your hair, because these chemicals are being sprayed within the airports, and everywhere you sit has probably been wiped down. So your clothing and your hair are going to have chemicals all over them. And if you're carrying a backpack, I would wipe it down or wash it if you can, so that you don't continue having those chemicals on you. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you with any comments or questions. Safe and happy travels. Blessings.